Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Flora would like to introduce you to Landon MacDonald, an upright and outstanding member of the US Navy, a man of high ambition. Hello beautiful, he said. Good morning, how are you doing? Good morning, said Flora. Hello Flora, how are you? I'm fine, thanks. You're welcome and nice to meet you. Where are you from, Flora? I live near Wells in Somerset. Where do you live? That's good. I am from Hawaii and live in the Navy Air Force Base, South Tampa, Florida. Nice to meet you. I visited Florida, she said, a long time ago now. I went to visit some old friends. Wow! It'll be nice to meet you someday. Are you working right now? I'm retired, she said. I was the secretary in a firm of solicitors. What work do you do? Wow! I work in the Navy. Yes, but what do you do? She said. I'm deployed here for peacekeeping in Al-Tanf, Syria. Told me you were in Tampa, she said. He sent a photograph of a man standing in front of a structure with the number 84 written on it. That still doesn't tell me what you do, said Flora. There are probably hundreds of different jobs in the Navy. Go back and read our conversation, he said. I said I live in the Tampa Air Force Base, Florida. Yes, said Flora, that is what you said. This, he said, repeating what he'd said about I'm from Hawaii and I live in the Navy Air Force Base, South Tampa, Florida. And don't be rude, said Flora. I can read. That's why I thought you were in Tampa, because that's where you said you live. Never meant to be rude, friend, he said. I'm only trying to explain better. Well, you're explaining very badly, said Flora. Oh, no. OK, my apologies. And rereading our conversation, as you so kindly suggested, tells me Tampa, and you still haven't told me what you do in the Navy. Cook, cleaner, maintenance engineer, sailor, admiral, navigation, health and safety, etc. I'm CPO Admiral, he said. What does CPO mean? Asked Flora. Chief Petty Officer in the Navy, he said. Does that mean you have two ranks, CPO and Admiral, she asked, or is that just an insurance policy? And if that makes no sense at all to you because you don't live in the UK, Admiral is an insurance company in the UK. Yes, I'm working towards my next promotion to the Admiral in months' time. Amazing, said Flora. We looked that up. I think that means he's going to be promoted through something like 29 ranks in just a few months. I could be completely wrong. It might have been 19, but it was a large number of ranks in a very short number of time. Yeah! Do you have a kid? He asked. What's behind you? In that photo? She asked. Yes, I have a daughter and a granddaughter. LOL, that's the ship I'm working, he said. Wow! That's so beautiful, in reply to her saying she had a granddaughter. I'm a divorce with 2 kids. I hope to live more year and see my grandkids too. Tell me about the place where you are, in Syria, she asked. If you're on a ship, I'm assuming he's on the coast. I'm in Al-Tanf, he said, and here to protect the oil pipeline on the seas when the terrorists, so-called the Taliban of Syria, busting the pipe to get away with the oil. Before we go any further, I'll just insert one of those little maps. Google Maps tells me that Al-Tanf is approximately 297 kilometres or 184 miles from the nearest part of the sea. In Syria, it's probably closer to Beirut, but that's in Lebanon. Back to the action, and our man has just said he's there to protect oil pipeline because the terrorists bust the pipe to get away with the oil. Imagine, said Flora, them busting the pipe and filling their cans with oil. You mustn't let that happen. That's expletive. The Biden government want more oil from the Syrian government, and that's why he never want to pull all troops back home from here, he said. Are you in support of the Biden government? Clearly, our man has an axe to grind against President Biden. What on earth does that have to do with what you said before? Replied Flora. I can't wait to see everyone vote him out of the office, he said. I see no connection at all, she said, and I don't live in the US. I know you don't live in the US, he said. I just want to let it clear to you, we shouldn't be here fighting this fight. Is not our fighting. Explain to me what is the connection, any connection, between those 2 paragraphs, please, she asked. Got that, he said. You didn't tell me who you were fighting. You said you were protecting an oil pipe. Did you change your mind? And why are you in the Navy if you don't like fighting? You really aren't making sense. Why change my mind, he said. We protect, they attack us, and that lead to a fighting. OMG, he said, in reply to her saying why you're in the Navy if you don't like fighting. Military doesn't stand for a fight. We protect. Okay? And in reply to her saying, you aren't making sense, he said, oh no, that's rude. And in reply to him saying, military doesn't stand for a fight, we protect, Laura said, and as you've said, protecting, apparently, involves fighting. You sure you aren't an anti-Biden activist with an axe to grind, rather than a naval admiral? And in reply to him saying, oh no, that's rude, she said, it's true. I just let this clear to you that we protect, but the people attack to fighting, said our high-ranking naval officer. Yes, after all these years in the Navy, have you only just realised that you might get attacked? She asked. What were you doing before? Sailing randomly round the oceans, sunbathing on deck? In reply to her saying, after all those years in the Navy, have you only just realised you might get attacked? He said, yeah, so definitely, but not as every other country I've been to. And in reply to her saying, what were you doing before? Sailing randomly around the oceans, sunbathing on deck? He replied, sailing. It will be nice when we meet, and I can tell you all the experience I had in the Navy. So you almost reached the rank of Admiral before realising you might be attacked, said Flora. What did they tell you when you joined up? Perhaps it's time to get another job. In reply to her saying that he'd almost reached the rank of Admiral before realising he might be attacked, he said no, but not just like we had in my coming days in the Navy. And in reply to her saying perhaps it was time to get another job, he said, well, I hope after getting back home, life's important. Oh yes, said Flora, who wants to be one of the most senior personnel in the Navy anyway? So tell me, he said, what you do after your retirement. I moved last year to be nearer my daughter, said Flora. The garden was untouched, so I've been planting it. I've joined lots of local groups, WI, Coffee Morning, Local History Group. I need to do some painting in the house now the weather's better and I can open all the windows. Okay, he said, do you got a WhatsApp or the Google Chat app? I don't get on my Facebook every day. I like to talk to you more and more every day. Why do you write such dreadful English? Asked Flora. I'd have expected a high-ranking Navy officer to write impeccably. LOL, he said. I don't write in abbreviations. I didn't say you were using abbreviations, said Flora. Plus, I grew up all my lifetime with the Mexican people. You've been in the Navy for many years, said Flora. Do you have problems concern how I'm written you? He asked. Yes, I do, said Flora. You're about to become one of the Navy's highest-ranking officers. It's my 8 years going, he said. Don't be daft, said Flora. You don't get to be an admiral after 8 years. That takes a whole career. Definitely worth, he said. So how long have you really been in the Navy? 28 years? 38 years? And I'd prefer you to do me the courtesy of writing properly, as you must do at work. 16 years, he tried. Closer, said Flora, but I'm sure you don't get to be an admiral after 16 years. LOL, he said. That must be a choice. How old are you? She asked. Exactly, she said, in reply to him saying that must be a choice, and it's discourteous to choose not to write to me properly. I'm in my 52 years. I joined lately, he said. Keep trying, said Flora. You don't get to be an admiral after 16 years. When I write to you, it how I wish, he said. Well, if you won't do me the courtesy of writing properly, you can go away, said Flora. It's rude and disrespectful. Goodbye. Oh, no, common, he said. That's poor. I'm not common. How rude, said Flora. Please write properly or go away. I just said okay, said our man. OMG, you don't try to be a difficult. Trust me, I like you, he said, sending a face with hearts. You're right, said Flora. I'm not trying to be difficult. It's you that's being difficult, refusing to respect a lady's wishes. It's getting late. I'm going to bed. Maybe you'll think about your choices overnight. I just said my apologies. Good night, she said. We'll see if you mean it tomorrow. Yes, I promise to make your wish. I hope that's good enough. Promises are not good enough, said Flora. Putting that promise into action is what I want, please. Good night. Can I get your WhatsApp number or Google Chat address to reach you every day? He asked. Yes, that's true. Actions speak louder than words, he said. Okay, have a sweet dreams, my beautiful angel. And he set to thinking of you gif, followed by a good night one. Hello, good morning, beautiful, he said, sending another photograph of a man. I'm on duty working right now. Talk later again. And this is that photograph of a man wearing a bomber jacket and trousers. Unfortunately, the photograph is quite low res, so when you zoom in, you can't read what it says on his jacket or his cap. I'm on duty working right now. Talk later again, he said, sending 3 kisses. Good morning, said Flora. Aren't naval officers expected to wear uniform while they're on duty? I have no idea, and that probably is the type of uniform that a naval officer genuinely would wear on duty. Hi, he said, I get off work right now. OMG! Why are you trying to make me mad? Can't you see? I'm on duty. How are you today? What on earth are you talking about? Said Flora, in reply to him saying, Why are you trying to make me mad? And in reply to him saying, Can't you see I'm on duty? She said, no. That's why I asked, aren't naval officers expected to wear uniform while they're on duty? And in reply to him saying, OMG, why are you trying to make me mad? Again, she said, Are you just a quick-tempered idiot and not a real naval officer? You're behaving like a small boy. Hey, what's come over you, he said. Do you just calling me a small boy? That's poor. Flora, I respect you. I might appreciate you talking disrespectful. Can you stop being rude, friend? Text me when you want. I get off work right now. Hello, Flora. I get off work right here. How are you? I can see you online. And in reply to him saying, Do you just call me a small boy? She said, Stop acting like one. If you respected me, you'd answer my question instead of making me ask you multiple times. I'd be better if you answered my question. Aren't naval officers expected to wear uniform while they're on duty? And it's you that's rude, she said, copying the bit where he'd said, Can't you see I'm on duty? LOL, he said, in reply to her telling him to stop acting like a small boy. Because obviously I can't see that you're on duty. That's why I keep asking, aren't naval officers expected to wear uniform while they're on duty? And in reply to him saying LOL, she said, Behaving like a child isn't funny. Yes, I respect you, Flora. Good, she said. Yes, I'm putting on my uniform and got my jacket when I took the picture I sent over. What does that mean? Asked Flora. You weren't wearing your uniform in that photo, were you? Don't get me wrong, he said. I'm putting on my uniform when I took the picture and put on my jacket as well. And he sent a photograph of a man wearing a camouflage shirt. I get off work now, and I decided to take one again before I took off the uniform, he said. I respect you, and I know you're such a beautiful woman to know what you desire. You've got me smile here right now. What are you doing? Excuse me, said Flora, in reply to him saying, Don't get it wrong, I'm putting on my uniform when I took the picture. Don't get it wrong? How rude. It was you that said, Can't you see I'm on duty? I'm not psychic. You didn't tell me you were putting on your uniform when you took that photo. Flora, it's okay. I don't want us fighting, he said. And you absolutely refused to answer me when I asked if you should be wearing your uniform on duty. And in reply to him saying, I don't want us fighting, she said, Then stop being rude, making stupid statements, and answer my question. Okay, he said, I said my apologies again for not letting you know. Good, said Flora. Okay, I promise, he said, in reply to her saying, Answer my questions. Poor behaviour, she continued, for someone shortly to achieve the rank of Admiral, no less. OMG, he said. Well, I want you to know I'm a very good gentleman. I never taken you for granted. I said my apologies. Again, I know we meet to be a good friend. Don't you judge me real quick. I'm just a very good gentleman. Let us make a good friend. Can I ask you a question? Okay, said Flora. How old are you? Hello. I'm 73, she said. How old are you? Wow! You're looking pretty. Much younger than in your 73 years. I'm 55 years old. Are you married with kids? Hello. My goodness, said Flora. You've had 3 birthdays, and I've had 3 more kids. I guess that means I now have 4 kids, because previously he'd said he was 52. I thought you'd go to sleep when I was here talking to you, Flora, he said. I woke up just now to check you out, and I got your text coming in. Let me know when you wake up in the morning, my sweetie. And he sent her a good night gift. Hi, beautiful. Good morning, and happy Sunday to you. How are you doing today? Good morning, said Flora. You didn't tell me how old you are. I'm 55, he said, because I'd forgotten that he did. You seeing it here. How was your night? Oh, yes, sorry, said Flora. I guess I haven't had enough tea to wake me up yet. Wow! I see. Go get enough, Flora, he said. It's Sunday, she said. I was just reading in bed. That's nice to keep you going, and had a beautiful morning, he said. And ladies and gentlemen, fair warning, if you're eating or drinking, I suggest you swallow now, before I read you the next bit. Do you have your husband right there with you? He asked. Oh, yes, said Flora. I keep his body under the bed to remind myself why I killed him. Wow! That's loving, he said. Morning for the two. I hope someday you can visit the United States. I've always fancied a visit to the US, she said. Is it very hot in Florida? Yes, he said, it's hot in Florida. Hawaii is the coolest place ever in the United States. I'll bet you like it. Hawaii, she said. That would be wonderful. Hawaii is a beautiful place in the United States. I know you're going to like it. Where is it? Asked Flora. In the USA, he said. Yes, I know, said Flora. Where in the USA? It's a huge country. Yes, US is a huge, with the largest states on earth. You have to be there someday. Fancy that, said Flora. Who knew? Where is Hawaii? In this huge country with the largest states on earth. Wikipedia leapt to the rescue. Hawaii, it informed him, is located in the western United States, about 2,000 miles, 3,200 kilometres from the US mainland in the Pacific. Oh, okay, said Flora. Do you like travelling? He asked. I love going around the world. Isn't Wikipedia wonderful? Replied Flora. Yes, I'd love to do more travel. Yes, me too. I do that in my holidays. You must have travelled to lots of places with your work, she asked. Tell me about some of them. Oh dear, here we go. Yes, I do, and I've been to 6 countries, presently here in Al-Tanf, Syria. I'm relaxing now. I do less report of the weekly schedule today. I don't understand why less, she said. All those years in the Navy, and you've only been to 6 countries. Which countries? I've been to the listed below, he said. Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen, Norway, Switzerland, now in Syrian. Where did you sail to in Switzerland? She said. I've always wanted to go there. Zurich, he said. It's an amazing world, added Flora. Fancy, you almost an admiral, and you've only been to 6 countries. I guess the US Army must be on a cost-saving exercise. Actually, of course, she meant the Navy. Yes, always. And it's nice when you're going around the world to meet with the new people. Except you haven't been around the world, she said. You've been to 2 countries in Europe, 4 in the Middle East. Not exactly extensively travelled. Yes, he added, and I meet the new people. You probably should make an effort to do some more travel before becoming an admiral. LOL, he said. Yes, so, definitely. If you're on a Navy boat, maybe speak to whoever is in charge and ask them to take you on a world tour. LOL, that us a boat cruise, he said. How else will you get the experience necessary to become an admiral in just a few months? She asked. It's my profession, he replied, and I knowing that I will get through. What are you doing now? I guess leaving things to chance is the best way to get promoted, she said to one of the highest ranks in the Navy. Experience is so overrated, I find. And in reply to him saying, what are you doing now? She said, dancing backwards round the garage, what are you doing now? Yes, that's true, he said, in reply to her, saying, I guess leaving things to chance is the best way to get promoted. It worthy a dedication. I'm doing the report of the weekly schedule. And what is the weekly schedule, she asked. The report on our work to the headquarters. OK, said Flora, but what's on your weekly schedule? What did you do last week? I said, written all what happens here for the week, from Monday to Saturday. But if you have a schedule, that makes me think there's something on it. What activities are listed on your schedule for last week? The ones you're writing your report about. Didn't we agree you were going to write like a mature adult, experienced Navy officer, not like an illiterate street kid? Concerning the outgoing, when we've been on and off the sea, to keep the oil pipeline safe from the terrorists. They keep coming to tap out the oil. How do they tap out the oil? She asked. Do they bring jugs to fill? Yes, they came up with a jugs and a lot more. What do they use the oil for? Cooking their French fries? She asked. LOL, they make money profit by selling out the oil. Who'd you sell a jug of oil to? She asked. And what will they do with it if they don't use it for cooking? I don't know where they're actually taking it to, he said. Perhaps you should put a tracker chip on one of the villains to see where they go, suggested Flora. Yes, we do that, to know the destination it's taken to, he agreed. Then how come you haven't worked out where they're taking it to? Don't the tracker chips work? They open fire when we're trying to get close, he said. But if the tracker chips work, you should know where they are. Even an Apple AirTag locates to within a few metres. I'd expect the Navy to have more advanced technology. Yes, we do, but some of the Arab naval here are giving information to the terrorists when we're coming so close to track them. So you do know where they're taking the jugs. Maybe they have a market stall and are selling them. Yes, so, definitely, he said. I wonder how much you can sell a jug of oil for, or what the people who buy it do with it. Wouldn't it make your French fries a bit black? I don't cook, Flora. I rather eat when they cooking. What on earth does that have to do with anything, she said. Are you saying you eat food that someone else has cooked in the oil they stole from you? Hi! Happy New Week, he said the next day. Oh no, I don't eat anything stolen from here. How was your night? Hello, Flora. I'm on my break now. Just had a lunch. Not fried in stolen oil, I hope, she said. No, that's good. I wouldn't want you to get food poisoning. I told you, I'm just here in Syria to do my job and stay focused. I never make friend with any of the Arab. Don't see how that's connected to eating lunch, said Flora. How do you know the cooks in your kitchen aren't using stolen oil? You asking a question, I answered you, he said. No, you didn't. I haven't asked you that before, said Flora. I'm not in the kitchen, and how do you expect me to know that? Of course you aren't in a kitchen, dimwit, she said. The cooks are in the kitchen, or do you have to make your own food? As a high-ranking officer on board ship, I'd expect you to have your finger on the pulse of what's happening on board. They cook and serving us when we get it done. We have a chef here. Exactly, said Flora. So how do you know the chefs aren't using the oil that gets stolen in jugs? This are made by the Syrian government. What do you expect? He said. LOL. I have absolutely no idea what that means, said Flora. Please try again. Or are you saying that only Syrians can be high-ranking naval officers? That's why I let you know. I am only focused on my job here and mind my business. I don't got my eye into what not concerned. I'm not sure that's a good way to get that promotion to Admiral, said Flora. I'd expect you to have to know what's happening everywhere on board. LOL, that's impossible. We train the Arab Navy to be more perfect in the service, and that we're helping the Syrian government when we embark to the United States. Or is this a classic example of someone being promoted to the level of their incompetence? Added Flora. You keep getting promoted because you're useless at the job you're doing, so they promote you to get you out of the way. LOL, he says. I'm always on active and got a regular doings on my job. I keep my job so clean and perfect. That's why I got promoted any time soon.
So I polished up it handled so carefully that now I am the ruler of the Queen's Navy.
Oh yes, regular doings are a necessity, agreed Flora. Can I ask you a question, he said, about what you do, and where do you working? That hasn't changed since you asked me before, she said. I don't remember. Can you say that again? I'm retired. I was a secretary for a firm of solicitors. I had lots of regular doings. In fact, I did lots of things regularly. That was my job, you see, to do things. You never told me you're retired. And your job? I just get to know right now. Well, it's okay, he said. Time we tell as we get to know more and more. Not true, replied Flora. I did tell you, copying the bit where she'd told him. I'm getting to know lots about you and all your regular doings, and to save you asking me again, she copied and pasted the bit where she told him that she'd moved to be near her daughter and all the activities that she did. Okay, I hope we can meet in person someday, he said. I'd like to visit you in the UK. I know you might say no. Oh yes, I think that would be fun, said Flora. I'd love to meet you. I'm happy, Flora. I know that I'm hardly get on Facebook every day to talk to you due to my job here, and time being, I will have to suggest we get in much communication time than this. Do you WhatsApp? No, I don't, she said. Then you can sign up with the app for us to reach out always on and off work my time. No, I can't, said Flora. I already have it. We're just family. And you said no, he replied. Can I have your number? I can reach you through the WhatsApp. Did you read what I said? Replied Flora. I don't have it apart from using it for close family. Yes, I can read that clearly. Just want a very comfortable to reach out one and other. You didn't ask if I had it, she said. You asked me if I do it, and the answer is no, I don't, except for family. Okay, let's leave that aside. Can I have your WhatsApp number right now? Yes or no? You obviously don't read, replied Flora, so I'll say it again for the avoidance of doubt. No. Flora! I did! Why doubt? Ain't got a bad intentions in you. That's bad idea. You don't think negatively about me? Are you one of those men who goes off on a mega rant instead of accepting a lady's wishes? I do hope not. That's why we need to meet, she said. Oh no, I'm not. I believe it just a comfortable ways for me to reach you when I get off work without missing your text any time you text me. Tell me when you think you might be able to get leave to come and visit, she asked. So definitely, I'm going to plan and work on that all because of you. But let me have your WhatsApp number. I have no bad intentions to reach you out. If you refuse to read what I say, then I'll withdraw the invitation to come. It isn't a good start to a relationship, is it? It's okay, Flora. I know we're good to go. You're such a beautiful woman, and I love what I see. And he sent her a photograph of a man sitting down, holding a hard hat. And on the hard hat, it does actually say MacDonald. What are you doing in that photograph? She asked. Like you're seeing, I'm on the ship, working. Only got a selfie to let you know. Like I am seeing, replied Flora. How am I supposed to know that's a ship? And what are you actually doing? And that isn't a selfie, is it? And look out for that. If the person that you're talking to claims that they've just sent you a selfie, is it? You can see both of his hands folded in front of him on top of his hard hat. If he was taking a selfie, you'd probably see one arm extended. In reply to Flora saying, how am I supposed to know that's a ship? He said, working, okay? I don't think we're matched with the way things are going in our conversation. Working, okay, said Flora. What does that mean? What is your work? You don't play to be smarter than I, he said. This is my profession, and you have no right to question me every time. You mean because I won't let you bully me into giving you my WhatsApp number, said Flora. I have no idea what your profession is. You haven't told me. You're very rude, aren't you? I don't need you WhatsApp number for no harm. Got that? He said. Your profession is sitting down holding a hard hat, asked Flora. Flora, I respect, and I think the best is to be. Yes, got that, replied Flora, in reply to him saying, I don't need you WhatsApp number for no harm. Got that? And I clearly told you I only use WhatsApp for family. Got that? I've taken a time to sit down when I have stand all day on the ship. What do you expect? He asked. I expect you to tell me what your profession is. I asked you what your work is, and so far all you've managed is to tell me that you sit down and hold a hard hat. That's an unlikely profession, and if you're thinking, but he's told her, you're right, he has. But two of my girls were talking to him at the same time, and I got confused. So this is your last chance, final chance. Tell me what your profession is, please, and not be rude and condescending about it. You're coming to see me, she said. How dare you tell me I have no right to ask about your work? You've told me very little about it, apart from your rank and a few mentions of stopping people stealing oil in jugs, she said, when I realised that I was confused. Well, my intelligence specialist analysed is to break down information, to determine its usefulness, planning of our everyday schedule on this mission, and to know the tactical areas all over the terrorist hideout. I don't like it when you're claiming to be smarter, he said. Well, come on, mate, that's not hard, is it? Please try and talk like a mature, high-ranking army officer, said Flora, not a hurt, small boy. When are you thinking of visiting the UK? Yes, I do, as it piss me off when I'm taken for granted, he said. You don't encourage me more to do so. I'm so sorry, he said, in reply to her asking when he was coming to the UK. But you aren't, she said. You're talking like a hurt child. I'd expect so much better from a mature naval officer. Do you talk to your colleagues like this? No, I'm not. You've rather been a teacher in the high school, he said. Not what? Asked Flora. A mature naval officer? You see, you're still talking like a hurt kid, not a mature, high-ranking naval officer. I am with a colleague, working and on the phone, texting you, he said. That's no excuse for acting like a toddler whose mother's told him he can't have his toy, said Flora. LOL, he said. You're such a funny kind, Flora. You're trying to make me falling for you. Do you ever thinking that will happen? He asked. No, said Flora. Why? Tell me why no. Why do you think? she asked. I like you, he said. That was the reason why I tried to hold a conversation with you still ongoing. You haven't made any attempt to hold a conversation, said Flora. You barely typed a sentence that makes sense. I have never grown up in your country, so don't expect to get to know more in your ways and culture. You're a high-ranking officer in the US Navy, you dimwit, said Flora. But I truly love what I see on your profile. That beautiful smile turns me on. Last time I looked, said Flora, they speak English in the USA. You haven't told me what your first language is. Obviously not English or American English. So what ways and culture do you know? Obviously not American. I guess I'll find out when you come here. Hispanic, he said. That's a language? Asked Flora. Only when we can have a good and respectively feelings for each other, he said, in reply to her saying, I guess I'll find out when you come here. Then I'm not interested in having a relationship with you if we can't meet, said Flora. Yes, the Spanish, he said, in reply to her saying, is Hispanic a language? I was hoping you could sail your ship to the UK. You said you want to come here, she said. We surely need to meet. Before anything, he replied. I agree, said Flora. But not the way you make me feel guilty every time I text you. I see myself like nobody, said our naval officer. You see, you're doing it again, said Flora, acting like a small boy, not a mature, high-ranking naval officer. Please at least try to sound like a fully grown man. Leave my work aside of this. I'm a human. I can feel pains, said our hurt scammer. You could try watching some videos on YouTube of high-ranking officers talking or giving speeches. That would give you a clue about how they act. And in reply to her saying, please at least try to sound like a fully grown man, he said, yes, I do, but you make me feel that way. And your total refusal to act like a mature gentleman gives me pains, she said. OMG! Can you see you're trying to be disrespectful again? I've repeatedly asked you to act like a mature high-ranking officer, and you've repeatedly refused, said Flora. That's childish and disrespectful. LOL, then we go to end up falling in love, he said. It's you that's being disrespectful, said Flora, refusing to act like a mature gentleman, even though you know I don't like you acting like a baby. I have to go now. Perhaps you can think about when you can come to the UK so we can meet. If you really want me there, only I can't get in there when I'm not going to be appreciate. Whatever that means, said Flora. I like you, and I wish dreams comes true, to be your happy man, he said. I'd so love it if you tried to type something, anything, that made sense, replied Flora. Then think about when you can come here so we can meet. I really do have to go now. Talk to you later. Okay, talk later, he said, and tried to call her. Hey. Good morning, said Flora. Sorry I missed your call on Monday. Hi. Good morning, beautiful. Happy new month. How are you doing, Flora? I'm fine, thanks, she said. Have you given any thought to coming here so we can meet? We could start with a video call. Then at least I could see you. Hi, beautiful. Guess what? I'm still working. And I told you, I ain't got a way to reach out on a video call. I work here on a mission. Hey, how are you, Flora? If you won't video call me, and you won't even tell me when you think you can come here so we can meet, then I don't think I'm interested in talking to you anymore. To which our man replied, Okay, I'm sorry, I need to protect my job. Goodbye, and disappeared. But there's an episode 2. It isn't as long as this one, but he contacted 2 more of my girls, and if I added it to this one, it came out to be 3/4 of an hour long. I thought it was a bit unfair to expect any of you to want to listen to any of my videos for that long, so you'll have to wait for episode 2 to hear him talking to Cassandra and to Celia. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like it, please share it, please comment down below, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again in Landon McDonald, episode 2.